With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing to keep the Grinch away from the toy drive.
Who's going to deliver the toys to the kids?
What about me, the Grinch?
No.
Yep, even easier than that.
You steal the presents one time.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Copyright Dr. Seuss Enterprises. Copyright Turner Entertainment Company.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibis, happy Wednesday. It's August 24th. This is our 40th episode of this mega series, and we still have a ways to go, y'all. Really quick, I want to show you this cover art now for The Sins of Our Mother. Most of you know by now there is a new 3-part Netflix series coming out, 3 episodes, dropping on September 14th. It's going to tell Colby's side of the story, I think. There's some jailhouse calls in there, it seems. Maybe her Lori's mom, Janice. So I just thought that cover art was really clever. The picture, I believe, on the left was maybe taken when Colby got married, and the right, after she was arrested. So what I'm going to do is, for those of you who just listened to the podcast version, I'm working on a new website and possibly a new phone app. And so until I get that done, I'm going to post on Facebook and Twitter what I am putting on screen, so you guys that only listen can still see the pictures that I'm talking about. Real quick, a big thank you to Colleen and Tony for the donations. I really appreciate your generosity. Also, I had 2 people who did not want their name put out there. You know who you are, and I appreciate you very much. I need to correct myself and thank Diane for the Elvis stuff. I had a brain moment and said Debbie. So, music fact of the day, Janis Joplin, ironically, only had 1 top 40 hit while she was alive. That song was Piece of My Heart. Great song. It reached number 12 on the top 100 Billboard charts. Me and Bobby McGee was co-written by Chris Christopherson. That album, Pearl, was released 3 months after her death, and that was her number 1 hit. So very interesting. She's also a member of what they call the 27 Club, which are artists who died at the age of 27. Unfortunately, other members of that club are Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, and Kurt Cobain. So last episode, we covered, for the most part, the murder of Tammy Daybell and some discrepancies in that night of Chad woke up and found her dead. Garth heard a thump and his dad screaming. And there's also been somebody who reached out to me that I believe is a reliable source that gave another version that also said that maybe Garth was not even at home when this happened and got a call. So anyways, and last night I was thinking, if you remember, we talked a bit about Julie Rowe and how she would go over to the Daybell house and seem to be close with Chad and Tammy and Emma that we know of. But, you have to wonder, why didn't she go to Tammy at some point and say, Chad keeps telling me you're going to die. Not sure if you're aware of this. A lot of people did not say anything. So we also know that the coroner did not request an autopsy or demand one. So coroners in Idaho, the requirements are very few. You must be 21 years old, a U.S. citizen, and live in the specific county for 1 year before you can be elected. And if you're elected, you're required to complete a yearly 8-hour training in subjects, including but not limited to Idaho coroner law, as well as death investigations and protocol. So in the Idaho State Association of County Coroners, it says the member of the ISACC shall not, in the discharge of his or her duties, make decisions beyond the scope of his or her professional expertise and knowledge, but shall seek guidance from the appropriate source or sources. And also it says on the Idaho County site that a coroner determines in each of those cases the manner and cause of death and, if necessary, holds an inquest and determines the facts as to how, when, where, and by what means the deceased came of his death. So what types of deaths are required to be investigated according to Idaho law? When a county coroner is informed that a person has died, the coroner shall investigate that death if, and they give 3, but the big one, the death occurred under suspicious or unknown circumstances. And as we talked about yesterday, Tammy Daybell was 49, and everybody except her family seemed to think she was healthy. And by family, I mean the ones that were her immediate. Her parents said she was. So we're going to go over real quick the affidavit for the first-degree murder count for Tammy before we jump into the timeline again. It says the defendant, Chad Guy Daybell, on or about October 18th or 19th, 2019, in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, was concerned in the commission of a first-degree murder and did aid and abet its commission, or not being present, advised, and encouraged its commission, or by command compelled another to commit the crime, and did so with malice, and did so willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation, which resulted in the death of a human being, to wit, did either kill Tammy Daybell and or assist in the killing of Tammy Daybell, and or did encourage the killing of Tammy Daybell, and or did command another to kill Tammy Daybell in violation of Idaho code. So the overt acts that they list, it says in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree of Tammy Daybell and to affect the objects thereof, one or more of the following overt acts were committed by one or more of the subjects of the conspiracy as part of a continuing criminal transaction and common scheme or plan within Madison and Fremont counties or elsewhere in the state of Idaho. Number 1, on or about between the dates of October 26, 2018 and June 9th, 2020, Chad Guy Daybell and Lori Noreen Vallow did encourage and espouse religious beliefs for the purpose of justifying and or encouraging the homicide of Tammy Daybell. On or about September 1st, 2019, Lori Noreen Vallow did move to Rexburg, Idaho with Alex Cox, Tylee Ryan, and Joshua Jackson, hereinafter JJ Vallow. Text messages between Chad and Lori regarding death percentages for Tammy and JJ in messages on July 30th, 2019. Chad Daybell obtained a burner phone on September 18th, 2019. Alex Cox obtained a burner phone on October 9th, 2019. Text messages between Chad Guy Daybell and Lori Noreen Vallow about Tamara Daybell being in limbo and Tammy being possessed by a spirit named Viola. September 8th, 2019, Chad Guy Daybell signed application along with Tammy Daybell to increase her life map insurance to the maximum allowed under her policy. Alex Cox attempted to shoot Tammy Daybell on October 9th, 2019. Remember, the same day he got the burner phone. Alex Cox conducted multiple internet searches between the dates of October 8th, 2019 and October 12th, 2019, including searches relating to Grindell Drop and shooting through a Dodge Dakota. Alex going to a gun range in the months before October 9th when the attempted shooting of Tammy Daybell takes place. Alex traveled from Sportsman Warehouse to the vicinity of the Daybell residence on October 9th, 2019. And Alex was in the church parking lot approximately 2.5 miles from the Daybell residence on the night of October 18th, 2019. So I did the math. Actually, I had Siri do the math because, math and me, we're not buddies. September 8th, when that was signed to up that life insurance policy, that was 41 days before Tammy's murder. So, I'm still curious. Why was Alex parked 2.5 miles away at the church the night Tammy was murdered? Was he waiting in case Chad couldn't go through with it? Was he at the house and just parked there? Did he leave his phone in his car? I posted a link on Facebook and Twitter today, a really good episode by Joseph Scott Morgan on body bags about Tammy's murder and what was not done that should have been done. And then the challenges of having to exhume her body after she's been embalmed to try and find a cause of death. But he said one thing that really stood out to him is that one of the kids said on scene that Tammy had pink foam coming out of her nose or mouth. And he said anytime they see this, and he likened it to like the head of a beer, like the foam or the froth coming out. This can happen in the midst of a fatal event with respiratory distress, trouble breathing, suffocation, or strangulation, and also in overdoses on drugs. So we left off on the date of, well, let me scroll back here. Way back here, y'all. I should have been a little bit more prepared. Okay, so we're just gonna pick up. Sorry, y'all. I think this was October 19th. My bad. The day Tammy was murdered. Tylee has a friend text her that she misses her and has been thinking about her. The friend receives a text from Tylee's phone 6 days later on the 25th saying, "Hi, I miss you guys too. Love ya," which is LUV. One thing that was said by several people was that the wording of the text after obviously Tylee was murdered did not sound like her, and it was not how she wrote. So October 20th, a ticket from Phoenix to Idaho is booked for Lori for travel on October 24th. Chad calls the hotel presumably to book rooms for Tammy's funeral up in Springville, Utah. Chad has 2 phones he's using at this point, and they're identified as a 208 number and a 401 number. He uses the 208 number to call this hotel. At some point, we know Chad cashes in on that $430,000 life insurance policy on Tammy. Sources told East Idaho News in March of 2020 they actually came from different policies. So October 21st to the 24th, starting on the 21st, the day she's buried, or the viewing rather, Tammy's school has a book drive in her honor and creates a remembrance corner in the library to help the kids cope. Because, me and Fruit Loop have always said when we talk about Tammy being a librarian, like, who doesn't love the librarian, man? They're just like so happy to see you all the time. And I don't know of one librarian that wasn't like sweet as pie. And so I'm sure the kids that knew Miss Daybell were devastated at her loss. So October 21st is the viewing for Tammy. And I think I said this last episode, but we learned on Dateline that her sister Samantha fixed her hair for the viewing. Emma, which is Chad's daughter, posts on Facebook a photo of her, Chad, and 2 other siblings, and they're on a FaceTime call about their mom. I do have a picture here. I didn't post the ones of the other kids on that Zoom call because it was a private Facebook post, but Chad's kind of fair game in my book. One son was on a mission in Africa, and he was not able to come home for that funeral. And the text that accompanied the screenshot, "We talked with Elder Daybell tonight. We're all doing about as well as we can be expected. Dad reassured us that Mom may have another assignment now, but we are still a family and we will grow closer together." So the next day on the 22nd, Tammy is buried. And I'm going to throw up this picture again from last night of the funeral. I can't imagine her family it was very quick, not much time to comprehend what had happened. On this, also, Chad paid for 4 rooms at the Holiday Inn Express in Springville, Utah. The 401 cell number is texting Lori that same day of Tammy's funeral. Not surprising, but that's low. Tammy's sister Samantha also said on Dateline that she felt like Chad was avoiding her at that funeral. I wonder why, because maybe he worried she might see right through him. We've heard that Chad was acting a little inappropriate at the funeral as far as even labeling people dark and light. So on this same day, the divorce between Melaniece and Brandon is finalized, but she's still on his life insurance policy. And he contacts investigators on his case for that attempted murder and told them about Tammy's death. Also on this day, Alex goes to the storage shed. So going back to Brandon, he forwards the investigator Tammy's obituary and explained that Tammy is the wife of Chad. And Charles had told Brandon before he was murdered that he was suspicious that Lori and Chad were having an affair. So October 23rd, a memorial service is held for Tammy in Rexburg. This is the program that's on screen now that was at that. Someone who knew Chad and Tammy for many years told East Idaho News it was really weird because the casket wasn't even there. It all came together so quick and it felt rushed. There weren't a lot of people at the service. Chad was one of the speakers. The song played at the end was Families Can Be Together Forever, and a poem titled Your Mother Is Always With You was in the program. And I'm going to read this now. And this picture is courtesy of East Idaho News. It says, Your mother is always with you. She's the whisper of the leaves as you walk down the street. She's the smell of bleach in your freshly laundered socks. She's the cool hand on your brow when you're not well. Your mother lives inside your laughter. She's crystallized in every teardrop. She's the place you came from, your first home. She's the map you follow with every step you take. She's your first love and your first heartbreak, and nothing on earth can separate you. Not time, not space, not even death will ever separate you from your mother. You carry her inside of you. And it has at the bottom, if you're not on YouTube, it has a picture of 2 kids, a boy and a girl, silhouetted back to back reading a book. And then there's like a big book with a woman inside with her legs kind of crossed, like she's peeking out. What a heartbreaking poem, because I know there were some actions by some of the Daybell kids and their spouses that bother a lot of people. They lost their mom, and now they've learned that their dad is responsible for her murder. Again, that 2020 interview where they totally were defending him was before a lot of stuff was revealed. And I've never lost my mom. I know a lot of you have. And can't imagine. That is just horrible. She had a grandbaby on the way when she was murdered, and also had, I believe, 2. So in January of 2020, Chad's younger brother, Matt, told East Idaho News that he and Chad had not directly spoken to each other since that service in Rexburg on October 23rd. He said, quote, since that time, I have texted Chad twice. Once when I heard from a neighbor of his quick marriage to Lori Vallow, expressing to him my shock and dismay at this news. Second, just recently, pleading with Chad to cooperate with authorities and reveal the whereabouts of his new stepchildren. So, those poor people. The whole Daybell family to be associated with such a huge case that is worldwide and probably one of the biggest cases we will see in a long time, if ever. Murdaugh may be a close second, but this case is just very different. So the same day October 24th, we've been through this. Lori sends a message to the babysitter, you're a darling girl. I understand if you need to get another job. That same day, Lori travels from Phoenix to Idaho, which is the day after the Rexburg service, I might add. And to debunk, there was a rumor that Lori, during the time of right after Tammy's murder, that she made cookies for Chad's kids. That was debunked. That never happened. I've had a lot of people ask me about that, but it did not. So Brandon also on the 24th tells investigators in Gilbert that Melaniece has become unresponsive to his messages. He last had contact with her on October the 16th, and he tells investigators that he will be taking his kids to Utah to stay with his parents for the foreseeable future. So on October 25th, Alex goes to the storage shed, and law enforcement officers see Lori and Chad holding hands, and they note it was only days after Tammy's murder. On October 27th, Kay Woodcock, which is Charles's sister, emails Detective Moffat, "Please contact me ASAP. We hear there are numerous things happening that have bearing on Charles's murder." And then on the next day, the 28th, Kay emails Detective Moffat again and says, "Chad Daybell, cult leader whom Charles suspected Lori was having an affair. Just so happened his wife passed away in her sleep on October 19th in Salem, Idaho. I'll send her obituary shortly." How odd is that? I wonder if she was heavily insured. See, Kay knew what was up. Lori had a large room at their home before she and Charles separated, which she used as a dance studio, and would record herself dancing 2 to 3 hours nightly and send videos to Daybell, which Charles discovered. Alex quit his job, and she put 3 question marks. Whereabouts unknown. He must be hiding with Lori and JJ. Brandon gave Melaniece $300,000 for divorce settlement in recent past, like just before Lori moved and before they attempted his murder. Melaniece is obviously the new golden goose since they murdered Charles. They'll run through that money quickly. Also, Brandon discovered Melaniece stopped their divorce proceedings 2 days before they attempted to murder him. Something about she couldn't collect his life insurance if a divorce is pending. So on that same day, Alex sends Zulema a picture of Chad and Lori and 2 other women at a restaurant. Chad and Lori are sitting beside each other, and Chad is no longer wearing his wedding ring. So this is October the 28th. Oh my gosh. Zulema responds to the text. "He looks way too happy." Alex replies, "He escaped the warden, so it's all downhill from here." Zulema says, "Woohoo, he's a happy man. Look at that smile." Alex says he's a little giddy, and Zulema says, "That's so cute." Alex and Chad go to the storage unit together on this day, and they brought bikes and other items to put in the unit, and they take out some totes and something else that I really couldn't tell what it was. They stay in total about 6 minutes. Here is a picture of them on October 28th taking those bikes to the storage unit. And speaking of storage units, I'm just going to go ahead and throw these pictures up on the screen of things that were found inside that storage unit. If you remember, Lori did not pay her bill. And so the owner of that unit contacted Nate Eaton and said, "Do you want to see what's inside?" Nate said, "Of course." We see here there is a patchwork blanket, like a photo blanket of Tylee from infanthood all the way up to what seems to be teenage years. Lots of happy memories, it looks like. If you zoom in on these, you see pictures with Colby, with her friends, with her mom, with JJ. You see another picture is a jersey that says Colby with the number 88. There is a Brigham Young University backpack with JJ's initials on them. Also, there is a scrapbook showing pictures of a very, very cute baby JJ. It says born May 25th, 2012, weight 2 pounds, 14 ounces. First words, bye-bye Ty. First steps, April 11th at 13 months old. On the right, you see one of those photo strips that takes 4 in a row of Lori and a very young Tylee, maybe around 4 or 5, the age where this custody battle was in full force. Tylee was smack in the middle. You can barely see a picture of Colby on the piano and little Tylee's head popping out. Then you see Nate Eaton there with Keith Morrison showing him the contents of that storage shed. And then a couple of other things. We see a picture of a young Colby and Tylee, baseball gloves, some ice skates, bikes, and JJ's beloved scooter that Larry Woodcock talked about at CrimeCon, saying JJ wore his shoes out very quickly. And when Larry saw that scooter, he knew something was really wrong because JJ loved that scooter. So the same day, Colby emails Lori, "Mom, you changed your number. What's going on?" Lori responds, "I need you to know that we're safe and happy. I know this sounds confusing to you, but I need you to trust me that although there are wicked people trying to cause harm, that Jesus is on our side and taking care of us. Although we may be out of touch for a while, I will continue to help you. I love you all so much. The car insurance will be paid for you so you can drive it with no worries." If you remember, I believe Charles said he was going to stop paying for that kind of stuff. "The phones will also be good. You are precious to your mama. I love you so much. Kisses to you. And I hope to talk." I think it's to you and maybe the baby and Kelsey. "I hope to talk soon. I will continue to pray blessings on your family constantly." Colby responds, "Okay, Mom, I love you. Please be smart and take care of the kids and yourself. I don't know what's going on, but I'm praying for all of you. I'm mad and sad, but I know I can't control anything going on. Please be safe, all of you. We love you. And if you can help us at all through Venmo too, that would help. I'm going to be getting a second job, but until then, we could use a little help. You've helped us so much with the car and phones, so thank you for that. I love you all." Same day, Melaniece signs her lease on the townhomes up in Rexburg. And now it's time for a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Help, 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 not health. HELP. And we've talked about this all week. You know, we can be our own worst enemy when it comes to problem solving. We have so many things in a day we have to do. If you're a mom, you've got school duties, you've got laundry, you've got housework. You may work 2 jobs to keep your house up. And then whatever problems arise, you still have to sort through those. There's not enough hours in the day. And sometimes we don't have enough energy to do it alone. I know for me, mom of 3, sometimes the last thing I have is time to sort through things internally going on with me. But in the end, when I finally got help, I was empowered with knowledge to walk myself through that, things I never would have thought of. BetterHelp can help you navigate depression, stress, anxiety, self-esteem issues, anger, relationship problems, grief, eating disorders, and more. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is an amazing option. It's entirely online, it's convenient, accessible, affordable, and you can video chat, phone chat, text chat if you want. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey, and you can switch therapists at any time if you feel the one you're with is not the right one for you. Within 48 hours, you will have somebody dedicated to helping you solve your problems. So visit betterhelp.com/whattheworld today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/whattheworld. They'll know I sent you. I appreciate it. It's a really wonderful service, I will say. Back to our timeline. So on October 29th, an investigator from Gilbert Police Department called the Madison County Sheriff's Office and inquired about Tammy's death. They did not have a record of Tammy and referred the investigator to the Madison County coroner. So the investigator contacted the Madison County coroner, who also had no record of Tammy's death. The investigator reviewed the obituary that Brandon had forwarded him and called the funeral home. So then the investigator was referred to the Fremont County Sheriff's Office because that agency investigated her death. Investigated. I don't know. I've never heard that they investigated it, but I called Fremont County Sheriff's Office and requested their police report, then spoke with coroner Brenda Dye. She said no autopsy was performed. The investigator notes, despite her age and medical history, Brenda Dye asked if there was something suspicious surrounding Tammy's death, and the investigator said he wasn't sure yet. So unsolicited, Brenda Dye shared that she spoke with neighbors of the Daybell family, and they referred to the Daybells as extremely religious. And there were recent reports of people meeting for a plan for a doomsday event. So the investigator contacted Detective Moffat and provided him with the updated information regarding Tammy's death. Detective Moffat said he would contact the FBI to schedule a meeting to discuss the combined investigations. So at this point, all they're investigating so far is Charles's murder. You have Tammy's murder. At this point, the kids are still not known to be missing, although they are murdered. And they're also investigating the attempt on Brandon, obviously. On this day as well, Lori and an unidentified woman are seen on ring cam. They were laughing, and the woman run towards Lori's front door. She also looked inside a snow igloo that was nearby. I tried to find this video or picture. I couldn't find it anywhere in my files. I'm sorry. If any of you know who that was, shoot me something in the comments. I think I may know who it was, but I don't want to put it out there unless I'm sure. Now, right here, this may be the best note in the entire Chandler document dump on October 29th, 2019. So they are, I'm sorry, I believe this is 2020. Investigators write on a rough timeline of events. Ian Pulowski posts goofy messages to Facebook, goes from basic bro to what appears to be a PR campaign to portray himself as Mr. Rogers. I think I got my date wrong, and that should have went later in the timeline, but sorry, y'all. That's funny. Yeah, so anyways, about a month before the welfare check, Brandon told Rexburg, Gilbert, and Chandler PD that he thought all of these deaths were related. A friend of Melaniece's, who was on Hidden True Crime, said this. I'm going to link that episode. There is so many nuggets in that episode of Hidden True Crime. It was a really good one. He told her that he couldn't get anybody to take him seriously about this. So October 30th, Gib texts Lori, call me, it's important. We don't know anything about that yet. October 31st, at this point, Brandon is still in hiding with his kids. Melaniece and Alex pack up her belongings from the home she shared with Brandon and their kids. She left kid items on the sidewalk, but said in the interview all the stuff was broken. Brandon actually used photos of this in the custody battle with her later on. And the private investigator that Brandon hired, his name was Rich Robertson. He took photos of the U-Haul in the driveway as well as the discarded items. And Mr. Robertson told Inside Edition they were bringing stuff out of the house and loading it into the U-Haul. But I saw Alex Cox bringing out some twin mattresses and bags of what looked like they might have been kids' blankets and toys. He didn't put those in the U-Haul. Instead, he put those on the curb and just left them in a pile with a little cardboard sign that said free while they loaded the U-Haul. So Mr. Robertson places a tracking device on the U-Haul and the other car that they're driving and follows them to Rexburg. There is a story, and I couldn't find it, where he went inside a diner or somewhere that Alex and Melaniece stopped along the way. They were talking in very hushed tones, and I think Melaniece wore her sunglasses the whole time. Just weird stuff. So in Brandon and Melaniece's custody battle, Brandon also said that she applied for the U-Haul, saying she was moving to BYUI student housing. I don't know, maybe you get like a discount on that. But you think about what Kay said in that email about now Melaniece is the golden goose. And even though we know Melaniece was involved before, you think about it. She got $300,000 from Brandon. She was getting some payouts from the other businesses and things like that. I'm sure they were laying it on thick with her. And I believe Chad had said a couple of her kids were turning dark as well. Gilbert investigators contacted the Fremont County Sheriff's Office requesting their assistance in locating the Jeep that was used in the attempt on Brandon. So on November 1st, 2019, we're getting towards the end of the year. We're on episode 40. We still got another 20 at least. We got to go through the whole arrest, preliminary hearing, all that stuff. November 1st, 2019, Detective Hermosillo starts surveillance on Lori for Gilbert police. The lieutenant had not seen Alex or the Jeep, and Hermosillo obtained a search warrant to seize that Jeep when he saw it. Lieutenant Powell from Fremont County Sheriff's Office sees Lori and Chad holding hands while conducting surveillance. Now, this is so creepy, y'all. This is like something you see in one of those psychological thrillers. On the same day between 5 and 6 p.m., Melaniece goes to the residence of a married couple who were friends of hers and Brandon's and stands in the driveway, right? Brandon had stayed with them briefly after the shooting. So the woman sees Melaniece just standing at the end of the driveway as she's trying to leave. So she gets out of her car and approaches Melaniece, who says that the Holy Spirit told her that her kids were here at their residence and she was there to collect them. The woman tells her the kids aren't there, and she actually invites Melaniece into the home and tells her husband, hey, she's here, by the way. At this point, Brandon was alerted that Melaniece was there. So when Melaniece came inside, she was still asking for her kids and repeated the Holy Spirit told her where to find her kids. So she tells the couple that Brandon was involved in dark things, but didn't elaborate any further. The couple keep telling Melaniece, look, the kids aren't here. The man says Melaniece threatened them, saying something to the effect of if they knew what was good for them, they would tell her where the kids were. Melaniece eventually left the house and sat in a white Kia SUV parked in front of their house. She sat there for around 20 minutes, and the woman approached the car to talk to her and sees Alex in the driver's seat, but he does not acknowledge her. She told investigators that she had never seen Melaniece act this way, and it worried her. So they finally drive off, Alex and Melaniece, but came back a short time later and stopped a few homes away from theirs. Melaniece got out of the car and stared at the couple's residence for several minutes before getting back in the car and driving away. The man said he was concerned for his family due to her behavior, but ultimately did not contact police because they didn't want to get involved. I cannot imagine knowing what they know about the attempted murder, and then you just see this woman standing in your driveway, and then she leaves and gets out and stares at your. I would have had the willies. Oh my gosh. So November 3rd, Kay emails Detective Moffat saying Lori had moved to Rexburg. She also said Melaniece is there, and she's pretty sure Tally would be too. On the 3rd, Lori and Chad fly from Salt Lake City to Kauai. And this is where we are going to stop, because now we're getting into the marriage of these two wackadoodles and all that comes after, and everybody's getting married, and it's just insanity. So anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. I've got to go grocery shopping for my Grammy. She's been texting me little notes the whole time I've been doing this. I love it. I love to see that little bubble pop up knowing she's texting. So I'm going to go take care of her. Hope you guys have a good evening. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to pick up because everybody's getting married in this band of misfits, we'll call it. All right. We'll see you soon.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
So, you've got an idea for a business. The store of your dreams. There's just one thing to figure out. Everything. That's why Shopify's all-in-one commerce platform makes it easy to sell online, in person, and everywhere else. Sell on social media. Source products with an app to to get that first sale feeling. It's the only solution that gives you everything you need to sell everywhere you want. So when you're ready to bring your idea to life, power it up with Shopify.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/profits23.